Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be doing a full face of Dior, and I'm just going for a very soft pink makeup look. At the time of filming this video, it is the beginning of September. It is spring here now in New Zealand, and over the last couple of days the temperature switch has definitely flicked and it is just a little bit warmer. I've even pulled out of my cupboard here in my room my small fan, because I think it was yesterday I was in the room just putting on my daily makeup and it started to get really warm in here. So I've pulled out that little fan just in case it gets too warm. So all my skincare has been done for the morning, and about 10 minutes ago I reapplied my sunscreen. So for the primer today, I'm going to use the Dior one. This is the Forever, this is the Velvet one, this is the matte one. There are two different primers that were released, was it last year or the year before? I lose track of time. But this is a really lovely primer. So I've just popped out one pump of this and just going to just dot it through here. I use this primer a lot and I think it gives a really lovely base. And even though it's a velvet one and it says matte, it's not mattifying. It doesn't really dry down your skin so that you look like a prune or anything like that. But what it does do is just help control the oils. Those of you that haven't seen my videos before, I have mature skin. I am 55 years old. And I also have oily skin as well. And for foundation today, I'm going to use the Dior powder one. This is the Dior Forever. This is the natural velvet one. And I've only really used it a handful of times since I did that first review. And it's not because there's anything wrong with it. I think it is a beautiful foundation. It's just that I gravitate more towards liquid foundation than powder ones. And since I haven't used this for a long time in a video, I thought I would use it today. Now you can see that the sponge that comes with this foundation is in pristine condition. And that's because I don't use sponges to put on powder foundation. What I use is usually a synthetic brush, and it's soft but more dense, and I buff powder foundation in. And I find by buffing powder foundation in, once you've got it on, no one would know the difference between that or if you were wearing a liquid foundation. And the other good thing about this foundation is that it is refillable. So I'm just going to take my brush, go into here. Now this shade is 2.5N, so I get quite a bit of product on. So it does take a little bit just to layer this. I would say this had a light to medium coverage. But once you've buffed it all in, it just looks really, really beautiful. And I don't know why really, I prefer, for me, liquid foundations over powder foundations, because as I was saying, once this is all on, it really does look absolutely beautiful. And you really just cannot tell the difference between this and a liquid foundation. And I know there's people out there that actually prefer a powder foundation over a liquid one. And this is a really beautiful one. Or if you haven't tried a powder foundation before and you're intrigued by them, then this is definitely a beautiful one to try. The other really lovely powder foundation is the Guerlain one. Both are beautiful, beautiful foundations. So I just slowly go over and just really slowly build it up. And because you're buffing the foundation in, it just melts with your skin really beautifully. Now, I have seen this used with the sponge that it does come with, and I thought that looked really beautiful as well. It's just that I prefer just putting a powder foundation on using a brush. And then I just go over any areas that I think just need building up a little bit more. But once it's on, it looks absolutely beautiful. Now the only place that I don't put this foundation is under my eyes, and that's because it's a powder foundation. And in saying that, I have seen people use it under the eyes and it doesn't tend to crease or emphasize the wrinkles or anything like that. But for today, I will leave the powder under my eyes at this stage. I will powder it down, But first I'm going to put on a liquid concealer. So with it all on, it's just gorgeous. And it gives, I would say it is a light coverage, heads towards medium, but definitely not a solid medium coverage. But it also gives a very natural coverage as well. It's just really, really pretty. And for concealer, I'm going to use the Dior Forever. This is the Skin Correct one. This is the shade 2WP. And I've mentioned it before, but I really like the shade because it has a little bit of peachiness in it. So it gives some correction as well. Now, normally when I put on a liquid foundation, whatever is left on my brush, I also put that under my eyes as well. And although I don't have a huge amount of darkness under my eyes, I do have these prominent veins. So what I'm going to do is just before I put on this concealer, I'm going to grab my Nars Corrector and pop this on. Sometimes I just keep forgetting to use it. So I've actually put this on the table in front of me so I remember to use it. And just one little dot there and one dot there. Hardly any at all. Less, as I've said before, is definitely more, I think, when it comes to a corrector. So I just tap that under. Just the smallest amount, but it is enough just to conceal those veins just that little bit more. And now I'm going to put on the Dior concealer. I've wiped down the brush that I used to put the corrector on and just blend that through. And then, like always, after I've blended through with the brush, then I'll just go over and just tap it in with my fingers as well. And to prime my eyes, I'm going to use the Hourglass, the eye primer. I've only had this for a few days now, but I really like it. The other one that I use is the Nars one as well, but I'd nearly run out of that. And I'd heard great things about this one, so I decided to give it a go, and I'm really pleased that I have. It's a really lovely primer just before eyeshadow. It helps keep the oils at bay on my lids, and I think it also helps with the longevity of eyeshadow as well, and it just stops everything creasing and getting oily. It's a really good product. And I don't have a Dior eyeshadow pencil, so I'm going to use the new Chanel one. This is the micro one in the shade Brun Clear. And then once I think that they are tidy enough, then I just take the Benefit 24-hour brow setter and just put a little layer over the top. They just hold my eyebrows in place, but as I've said before, it doesn't feel heavy or crunchy. I really like this one. And then to set the concealer, I'm going to use the Hourglass one. Again, I only bought this, it's not that long ago now, and I love this for under my eyes. With my oily skin, especially as the weather gets warmer, this one probably won't be enough for the rest of my face, and I'd be using mainly the one that I absolutely love, the Chanel Natural Finish Loose Powder. But for under my eyes, this powder is just beautiful. It has a blurring effect. It also is very hydrating because it has skincare ingredients in it. But it just sets the concealer but doesn't dry things down. Now, I'm not going to add any extra powder on my face today because I have this powder foundation. If I feel like I need to powder, and I don't normally with this one, it's pretty good with my oily skin, but if I felt like I needed a touch up through the day, then I would just reach for that foundation since it is a powder one. But at this stage, it just looks really beautiful and definitely doesn't need any extra powder on top. So for bronzer today, I'm going to use the new, this is the Dior, this is the Contour and Glow. This is number 100, and I use the shade as a bronzer. And I've just grabbed my Tom Ford. This is the, I think it's the bronzer brush. I haven't used this brush in a while, but it does apply product really beautifully. And I love using this as a bronzer. I just think it's very natural. As I said at the beginning of the video, I really just want a very soft look. So I don't want to put on a ton of bronzer. I just want to have just a very, very subtle warmth to my skin. So for the eyeshadow today, I've pulled out a couple of the new Dior singles and also a Dior quint as well. I'm not sure whether I'll be using everything that's in front of me, but I couldn't quite make up my mind which to use. I'm going to start off with this one, and this shade is Poncho, and this is a satin finish. And even though this is a pink makeup look, those of you that have watched my other videos know that I do like a little bit of depth just in the outer corner. But I'm going to go fairly easy with this. I'm going to take the Rapper number 14 and just pop a little bit in the outer corner. I also want to take this through the crease and up onto the brow bone as well. And I always think that pink and browns just look really beautiful together. I love these Dior single eyeshadows. Now, when I bought single eyeshadows in the past, which I have liked, I've tended not to reach for them very much, but I have been reaching for these. I think the formula is just beautiful, whether you get a matte or a satin, or they even come in a metallic as well. All of them are just really gorgeous. They blend beautifully, and they are also really good if you want an easy one and done eyeshadow look as well. Now, I'm just going to stay with the shade. I've got the Sonia G. This is the pencil one, and I'm going to put a little bit of the shade also on my lower lash line. Then I've got the Rapper number 28, and I'm going to go into the shade here. This one is Tutu, and they describe this one as metallic. This is a really beautiful pink shade. Possibly is pink a peachy shade, more towards that pink though. And I've used this one quite a lot. It is just such a pretty shade. Then I'm going to take the Rapper number 3, stay with this shade, and I'm going to put a little bit of this in the inner corner, and I'm also going to run a little bit of it on the lower lash line as well, just to bring just a subtle hint of pink through there, and that looks really pretty. And then I've just got the quint here. This is the new formula one, and this is the one Plum Tutu, and I think with this shade here, I'm just going to add just a tiny amount. Just want a little bit more depth on my lower lash line, but I don't want to add too much. This is an absolutely gorgeous colour story, this one. This is beautiful. If you love those plummy shades, and it's also got this really beautiful pink up here, then you will love this quint. It's absolutely gorgeous. Then I'm going to take my Rapper 13, going back into Poncho. I want to add a little bit more depth in the outer corner here, not too much. Now the 13 is similar to the Rapper 14, it's just that it's smaller, a little bit more dense, just so you can get a little bit more payoff, and you can be a little bit more precise with your application as well. And then for eyeliner, I'm going to use the one in matte grey. I've talked about using grey before. I absolutely love it. It gives a beautiful depth, but not quite as harsh as a black eyeliner. So greys and browns and taupes, they are my favourite shades for eyeliners. And I don't have a Dior mascara, so I'm going to use the Queen Masura one. This is a really great volumizing mascara, and the packaging is just very weighty and luxurious. I really love the finished eye look. I think it's very soft and really pretty and suitable for my everyday makeup. Now for blush today, I'm going to use one of the new Dior. This is the Colour Glow. I'll use the blush and the highlight as well. I bought all the shades when this came out and I did videos on them. But the one today I'm going to use is Dioriviera. And I've grabbed a wrapper brush. It's the number 24. And this is quite subtle, this one. The more punchier colours is, there's a coral, which is absolutely gorgeous. And there's also a plummy one as well. But this blush is buildable, and I love it that it is soft. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And then I think if I just need a little bit more, and it builds up really beautifully. You're never going to get a huge impact of pigment, but they are buildable, so you can go very sheer if you want to, or build it up to that strength. And I just think it's really pretty. And then for the highlight, I'm going to take the wrapper number 18, and I'm just going to put some of this on my cheekbones. I think these highlighters are gorgeous. They're very subtle, which I prefer in a highlighter, and the formula of them is gorgeous. They just blend out really beautifully. If you think you have put on a little bit too much, which I don't think you probably will with these highlighters, but if you think you have, you can always just buff it out a little bit if you want to, and they also buff out really lovely as well. And I'm going to use one of the new Dior lip liners. I've picked up about 4 different shades. This is the shade Rose Rose. I'll just do a swatch of it on the back of my hand for you. They feel really creamy, and this shade is just gorgeous. And I think it's going to match the lipstick that I'm going to wear today really well, but that shade is just beautiful. And then for lipstick, I've got a Dior Addict one. I picked up a refill, and this is a new shade to me. This is the shade Dior Vibe, but I will have it listed and linked below, as well as all the other makeup that I've put on today as well. And this is one of the beautiful cases that came out last year. Absolutely gorgeous. Be interesting to see what they release later this year. Hopefully they will keep with that floral theme. I think these cases are just gorgeous.
The river flows one direction, and fishes they follow the flow. But what if one tried to mention that there was more?
So here is the finished look, and it's very soft and very pretty. I love it. And this is the first time I've put all these different shades together. Normally when I do one of these videos, it's something that I've used for my everyday makeup and think, oh, I must do that on video. But I knew I wanted to do a pink makeup look using Dior, but I wasn't quite sure. So this morning I just pulled out all these different things, but I love how it's all come together. It's just absolutely beautiful. So let's start off with the Dior, the Velvet Foundation. It looks gorgeous, and you cannot tell that it is a powder foundation. I must use it more. It's just absolutely beautiful, and I love it when I use it with a brush and I buff it in. It really just melds and becomes one with your skin. I think it's super flattering on my mature skin. It's really beautiful, and like I said, if I think I need just to touch up a bit through the day, if a little bit too much oil is coming through, I don't think that'll happen today. It's going to be warm, but it's not going to be overly hot or anything like that. But what I would do is just go over again with that foundation. I wouldn't use any extra powder. The Dior singles are just beautiful, and these 2 shades, the Poncho and the Tutu, are just absolutely gorgeous. And that quint, I just added a little depth, just a little bit on my lower lash line. And also in that quint, if you wanted a little bit more of an icier look, then I would have also added this shade here. It is gorgeous. And also if you wanted a really bright inner corner instead of the one Tutu that I used, then this shade would be absolutely perfect. But these shadows are just gorgeous. Love the grey eyeliner. I know I spoke about it just before and I have mentioned it before, but I love a grey eyeliner. It gives that depth without looking too harsh. Just love the shade grey. And also these blush and highlighter duos, they are just gorgeous. I love all the shades that I got. As I said, this one is more on the sheer side, but it is buildable, and this is definitely enough for me for my everyday makeup. The highlighters that come with these are just absolutely gorgeous, and there's no reason why you couldn't mix and match and use these on your eyes as well. I know with one of the Contour and Glow palettes, the deeper one, number 200, it's got that beautiful deep cool brown in it, and I've used that on my eyes in a previous video and they just work absolutely beautifully. I am thrilled with the shade of this new lip liner. I think it is gorgeous, and I am thrilled with that new shade of lipstick that I got. This is the first time that I've tried it today because it only came the other day in the post, but it is gorgeous. What a beautiful, beautiful shade. So I'm really pleased to add that to my collection. So that's it for today's video. I would love it if you gave it a like and subscribed, and I will see you next time. Bye.